it's Romania Black, and we're starting a new show today. Ha ha! Happy Friday! So, I have wanted to watch Life Lessons with Uramichi Oniisan for years. Literal years. Full disclosure, when it came out in 2022, I was like, oh, I want to watch this show really bad. And I even put it on the polls on my Patreon, and it did not win. So I keep trying to find ways for it to come back in, and I've had it on other polls before, and it just never wins. And it's a show that I've wanted to watch so badly, but I knew that I wanted to react to it if I watched it. So I was like trying to find a place to watch this show. And on Fridays on my channel, I've decided now that those are going to be my Fridays where I pick the show that I want to watch. And so I knew when I finished this recent show that I wanted something feel good. I wanted something I could laugh to. The only thing I know about Uramichi Oniisan is that Miyano Mamoru voices a character in it. I don't know which one. We're going to find out. And that it's a comedy. So I know. And the main character, just from the promotional pictures, the main character kind of looks like Oikawa from Haikyuu, and Oikawa is like my favorite character from Haikyuu, so I was like, it has to be good, right? Has to be good if it's a character that's voiced, that looks like Oikawa and has the voice of Miyano Mamoru in it. Now, I don't know if Miyano voices the main character or not. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's a rainy day outside, and I was like, I want to watch something that's a feel-good show. I'm going to start Uramichi Oniisan today. So that's where we're at. But if you're joining my channel for the first time, welcome. My name is Romania Black. I'm a teacher, I'm a speech coach, and I'm also like a nerdy girl that likes to geek out about anime and manga in her spare time. So to also answer the question, and I know people are going to ask, they're going to be like, are you going to read the manga after the series is over? No, I'm mainly just an anime channel. I just react to some manga here and there, but I sadly don't have time to react to all the manga, so I'm only going to be watching the 13 episodes of Uramichi Oniisan. Then I'm going to move on. And if they do a second season of Uramichi Oniisan, then awesome, cool. I'll probably check that one out. But for now, we're just going to spend our summer on Fridays enjoying the hilarity, as I'm sure will happen with this series. So, like I said, if you're joining the channel for the first time, please feel free to comment down below, but please no spoilers, hints, or clues of things to come. I'm going to try to maybe record ahead so that way I might finish the series before, but I'll let you all know when and if that happens. So I'm super excited to see what this series is about. Life Lessons with Uramichi Oniisan, with a character that kind of looks like Oikawa. I'm like, is he going to be like a mixture of Oikawa and Reagan from Mob Psycho? That would be a lot of fun, but I'm super excited to dive in. I hope you all are as well. Before we do real quick though, I want to give a major shout out over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon. I'm super grateful for all of my supporters on YouTube, on Patreon, regardless of the tier. But those that are in the philanthropy tier, they get a special shout out in my videos. So I want to give a shout out to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to Dana, to Danger Zone, to Davarin, to Danny Donmai, to Destiny Marie, to Ichu, to Eric, to Kiri, to Elfreya, to Lyndon, to Matthew Palfinier, to Murphew, to Nameless Monster, to Nicholas, Ninths, Inley 2, as well as Sunspots, Trails, Translucent Men, and Shimoyama. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. Gee. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see what all we get in this series, but let's dive in with episode 1 and see what we're in for. Like I said, I go into these series blind, so I have no clue what's coming. So we're going to start Uramichi Oniisan here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do this, shall we? Oh my gosh. This is so funny. I have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy this show, and also it's going to really bring to light my existential crisis. Because with myself, I'm in my 30s now, so the moment that Uramichi Oniisan was like, yeah, I'm 31 years old, and I am a physical education student that apparently didn't live out the dream of being a gymnast, and now I'm on a kids TV show as an exercise instructor, I was like, oh my god. There's so much with this show already that I'm really excited about, because not only do we have five main characters who I'm really excited to kind of follow their journey, based especially on like the ED and the OP, and see what their lives are like, but I feel like this is one of those shows that's going to be really good in terms of like connecting with adults and like the problems and hardships with adulting, and then talking about like just their different avenues and where they've gone to in life. So let's walk through this show because I think there's gonna be a lot to talk about. Together with Mamen, I'm sure that this is making fun of like some Japanese kid show. I instantly think of like Blue's Clues, and there's like a lot of shows that as a kid there was like a TV host that was like an adult that would like hang out with kids and be like, all right kids, let's do the thing. And you know, kids are precocious. And kids are not dumb. That's the thing. They're very quick to figure out what you're doing and to note if something's kind of weird. Because I used to substitute teach, and I realized very quickly I am not meant to substitute teach small children. I'm kind of like Uramichi Oniisan. Like, I like having conversations with older kids. So, like, high school students and junior high students, like, I love communicating with them because you can have a conversation. But with little kids, you always have to have like a bunch of personality and a lot of energy and be on the ball all the time. And if you're not feeling good, they pick up on it real quick, and they're like little velociraptors. Like, if you don't like have that energy and look like you're in control the whole time, those little kids will eat you alive. And I remember I like substitute taught a kindergarten class for a week. It was the same class for a week. The teacher was out on vacation. They had me substitute teach the class. And the first day, the kids were like, "You're not Miss So-and-so. That's not how Miss So-and-so does it. Why are you failing at life?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "I just got my grad degree and I don't have a job yet. Stop it." And they will eat you apart. And they'll pick you apart and eat you alive, but they don't have any malice behind it. It's just like biting realism, and you're like, and that's what these little kids give, just this like biting realism. And Uramichi's like, So yeah, together with Maman, I love in this like everything about this anime. Like, you can see momentarily like all the little kids are all doing different things, and they're like the same little kids, so there's like consistency there. But like the one little kid's like looking at the camera making peace signs. There's a bunch of kids just staring off into the distance, and it's hilarious. And there's like maybe one kid paying attention, and it's like, oh my god, this is eerily accurate, right? He's like, "How are you?" I love that it's Kamiya. So it's the voice of Levi, the voice of Rampo, the voice of, in recent series I've watched, he's in another series that I'm watching right now, and I hate that I don't know the name. Oh, he's Natsumi. Yes, the voice of Natsumi. Yeah. So I instantly understood the voice as being, it reminded me of Rampo from Bungo Stray Dogs, and that's how I knew it was Kamiya. But when he gets to like the soulless, lifeless version, it sounds like Levi. I was like, oh no. He's like, "It's time for some fun exercises." He's like, "Gather around me." I like the director throughout all this. The director, even when Uramichi's saying these like horrifically tragic and existential crisis phrases, the director's like, "Good job. Keep doing it, kid." It's like, oh my god. But he gathers all the kids around, and he's like, "Don't make me overexert myself, okay?" He's like, today's Together with Mom is starting right now. And like, "Your voice is hoarse." He's like, "It's okay. It's from all my hard drinking." He's just so honest with them. He tries to like those throwaway lines. I love the one guy with the lines that's trying to keep on track. He's like, "Hey, keep on track. We're supposed to be talking about this." That is hilarious. So this OP, I have a feeling I'm going to be like going through this OP all the time. Again, I like some of these kids are just staring off. They're not paying attention properly, even in the OP. But we have the two that play the Kohai, his two like friends from college who followed him from college to this job, which is interesting. And then the two singers, the one, she's dating like a loser comedian, she said, and she's like downtrodden that she's not married yet. And the other one that he's really hot, but of course it's Miyano Mamoru playing him. Of course it's Miyano Mamoru playing him. He's like really super hot and can sing, of course, but he also is really crass and has a vulgar sense of humor, which is probably why he's not in a relationship. So that's hilarious to me. But yeah, them like just looking at all of them together, I can't wait to find out more about these five. And then we just see his like life in his apartment and him going to work, which gives me such Reigen Arataka vibes, right? Now all these characters are around this series, and I'm curious if we're gonna get more and more into them. But just when we go to Uramichi-san like smoking his cigarette on the roof, looking completely done with life, which is interesting to me because he is a gymnast, so he would take his health really seriously. So why is he like drinking? Like, did he have an injury? Is that why he's like constantly working out and trying to keep in shape? Did he have an injury and he can't be a gymnast anymore? Or did he not make the team? Or what ended up happening with his character? I'm so curious what ended up happening. I feel like like I said in the ED, it's like Haiji from Run with the Wind meets Reagan Arataka, and that's what I think Uramichi is. But I'm so curious. I want to know like why he's disillusioned, why he's having this midlife crisis at age 31, and then like what's the deal with the others? Why are they all downtrodden? And then this random like chicken dream thing that is like that he says is in his dream 80% of the time with the baguette. Like, what the fudge that is like giving him life? I'm so curious. But yeah, we have all these characters. I'm really interested to know more about them and everything about them. It's just the cast looks so much fun. I'm so curious to see what we're gonna get with them. But yeah, this OP is great, and I love it so far, and I love all these characters. I can't wait to dive more into it. But yeah, they're all in this show, and I like they slap on the logo, and it's life lessons with Uramichi Oniisan, and it's like band-aids, and it's like this torn apart life that's just barely hanging on by a thread. Hilarious. So in any case, he's trying to get all these kids. He's like, who's full of energy today? Who's feeling just fine today? Who's feeling weary and having a hard day so you don't want to do anything? And they're like, oh. And he's like, me. He's like, oh, it's just me? And so then the one girl that's sitting there hitting him with the thing going pow, 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 pow. And he's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm trying to cheer you up. And he's like, oh, thank you. Like, oh my God. I feel like if any of you are teachers watching this, this will be instantly relatable, because when you're a teacher, you can't go in with, even if your head hurts, even if you literally threw up in the bathroom because you're sick to your stomach like half an hour before your class started, which has happened, even if you like suddenly like hurt yourself, like you hit something and like sprained your elbow or whatever, you have to go in that classroom and teach and act like nothing's wrong. Like, you have to keep on going, keep being motivated, because that's your job, and you want to keep your students motivated as well. Like, there's been a lot of days where I went in to teach, and I was just having the worst day. Like, everything that went wrong that morning that could go wrong happened. I was, like, late for work. I didn't have time to prep. I didn't have time to eat breakfast. Stuff happened. I slept in, or I wasn't feeling good. But the moment you get in that classroom, even when they're adult students, I feel like as a teacher, you want to, like, turn that switch and be like, nope, everything's fine. And then the moment they all leave, then you just collapse and crumble. And I feel like Uramichi, I can so relate to him, and him always wanting to have this positive energy. But then it just seeps out how burnt out he is with his job. And he's like, are you surprise attacking me? And she's like, I'm casting a spell to cheer you up. And for a second, he seems like, oh, that's really sweet. He's like, well, I'm going to cast a spell on you all, too. And then they're like, what kind of spell? And he's like, a spell to prevent you from becoming someone like me in 20 years. Oh, no. It's just like whenever he has that, like, sinister look on his face. And I like the guy with the lines are like, no, you should be saying this. Like, he tries to get him to do the ABC exercise, and instead he sings the song. And I love when the kids, he's like, let's sing the song. And the guy's like, why aren't you doing the ABC exercise? And the kids are like, we want to do the ABC exercise. Kids are creatures of habit, and they're like, do not break the habit. Why are you doing something different? And then he says it's to, like, make a protest. I feel like the joke here, that he's doing a protest against the RAC, I feel like that there's some inside joke with that. He's like, I don't have any direct involvement, so I don't suffer any losses. So I'm very curious, like, what's the inside joke with that? But then I love that he's like, he has a little song about himself being like, missing from life, childlike happiness. My God. He's like, you guys sure pick up on things fast. What gets me is they talk about job hunting, and he's like, it's the crossroads of your life that you all are into the future. He's like, you'll certainly be shot down and hurt in many situations too, but make sure you don't lose sight of who you are. And I feel like maybe that's what's happened with him, is that he intended to like make the Olympic team or do something, and he just didn't get the job that he wanted to. But man, the life as this TV star where he like just goes from session to session with different kids. Oh my gosh. And then of course they're like, "Are you going home?" He's like, "I'm taking a break." And she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "I don't answer your question, you stupid little kid." Oh my god. So yeah, he's like, he goes back to the second session with a different set of children, and the girl, when she's like, "How old are you?" And he's like, "I'm 31." She's like, "My dad's 29." And he's like, I get that a lot too, because I'm in my 30s and I don't have kids, and almost everyone I know that's my age is either married or have children. And so there is this kind of stigma and pressure with that. And I kind of feel like the girl singer, where she looks and sees all the pictures of her friends getting married, and she's like, "Oh, my loser boyfriend isn't marrying me." So I'm curious to see more about that with her storyline. But I instantly relate to where Uramichi's like, "Give me a break." And he's like, "Look, kids, everyone's life is different. Just because a single guy guzzles down cheap sake while watching boring late night dramas every night, that doesn't mean he's a loser. Don't assume he's unhappy." Again, Reagan Arataka, I swear. I love when it cuts to like that purple film. It's hilarious. And he's like, "Careless thoughts can kill people sometimes." I'm like, oh my god. And these kids are just like, "What is he talking about? What is Uramichi talking about?" He's like, "I don't know anything anymore." And that's when he like gets the kid to the kid falls and tries to get his attention. He's like, "Where's the meaning of my existence?" Peekaboo. The concept of this show following this burnt out TV host who like isn't able to follow his own dreams and he's stuck in this miserable job is hilarious, but also relatable. So Usao and Kumao, I feel like I'm going to call them Usao and Kumao, even though they have names, because those are just easy to say. But him, like, because of his smoking and drinking, he, like, gags on the third time and gets mad at them because they didn't come out properly. And he's like, the script said it was the third time out. And he's like, the script or my voice, which is more important. So he says he's a gymnast Oniisan. He graduated from a physical education college and is a former gymnast. He was really, really, really in shape and like super buff on the flashback, and he's still trying to keep up that physique, but I'm so curious about his backstory of what happened to him. Something happened with the rings. His body trunk is stable, but he's emotionally unstable. Yeah, so he's just like, there's some shit going on in his life that he's trying to work through, and apparently has not gone to therapy. So then we have the other two, which we'll meet them here in a hot second. But yeah, he's like, any adult would be two-faced or even three-faced. And he's like, you kids pretend that you didn't see anything, okay? I like this concept that he puts on a show and like puts on a facade for the kids, but he doesn't want them to see how he actually is. And then his bedroom looks so bare. He just looks like he's in the bare minimum. He's like, morning has come again. Oh my god. So then we have the same kids doing the exercise. And then what does he say there? He's like, it's exercise time. And what do the kids tell him in that moment? They're like, did you stop fighting that one association? He's like, well, it wasn't a fight. It was a rash act of protest. And he's like, flip-flopping on their positions from day to day is a habit of weak adults. Oh my god. And the kids are like just sitting there blinking at him. They're like, okay. And so he's like, gather around, children. And then I like the one kid that is laughing at him when he says not to laugh. And they're like, why is your voice weird? Why are you putting on an extra cheerful voice? He's like, that's not the case at all. And he's like, this isn't the time to laugh. Like, I thought he was going to go off on that kid at first. Like, I thought he was going to go off and yell at him, but he doesn't. I'm wondering if he's just going to become more mentally unstable as the series goes on, if they're all just going to crack, or if the goal of it is for him to find a new job. I don't know, but it is hilarious. And he's like, we don't laugh here either. He's like, when I'm home, I'm alone and my feelings become numb. You kids are when I feel the most alive. I'm like, oh my god. Like, he's so depressed. He's so depressed. And it's like, oh my god, I want to give Uramichi Oniisan a hug and drive him to a therapy session. Oh my god. And then when all the kids are like playing by themselves and there's the one girl there and he's like, I don't think being alone is bad or makes me a loser at all. I guess he's saying that because she's all alone too. And standing next to him, he's like, also, I see middle-aged guys at bars who've weirdly come to term with their lives, thinking they're the happiest ones even though they're single all their lives. And I wonder if he's like thinking he'll become one of them, regardless of if you're with 4 other people or just with one person. Once you feel sad, I think that makes you a loser. So does he think he's a loser because he feels sad by himself? I don't know. Solitude has already beaten you if that happens. I'm crushed every day to the point that it's overkill. I just feel for him. So then he calls out the 2 rabbits in them. I love when he gets behind the curtains and he's just like, get out here. So I love that he basically like punishes his kohai by making the kids like play tag around them. What's really funny is like the bear and rabbit masks have like such little beady eyes and little tiny mouths that it makes them look even cuter. So when they're in despair, it's kind of hilarious. But yeah, so his whole thing is he has like the hand grip, like for stress relief and also to like flex his biceps still, right? And what did they say there? What did he say? He's like, why don't you take your costume off? It's hot inside, isn't it? And he's like, oh, well, he said he didn't want to see you face to face without getting drunk first. Oh my God. Because your eyes are scary. And I love that little, like, the frame by frame where he, like, tackles him. He's like, why would you say that out loud? So these 3 are interesting. He's like, we were never in collusion in the first place. Of all things, his straight face is the scariest. Oh my God. So he didn't want to have to look Oni-chan in the Uramichi in the face. So they go to this restaurant called Mud Boat, which is hilarious. The one guy that looks like Hiragi from Given, his name is Usahara. He's a college graduate. He's 28. He plays Usao. He's always broke, and his idea of saving is putting money in a piggy bank. So basically, he's not very good with money. He followed Uramichi to this locale in this job. And he's just doing this just for some cheap change. I thought that he was going to be in a relationship with the other guy who has the brows, Kumatani. I want to ship Kumatani and Usao together so badly, but Usao seems like he's interested in girls, so maybe that won't be the case. But Mitsuo Kumatami, he's observant, he's also a physical ed graduate, but he also doesn't make use of his broader views. He's in Kamau. Yeah, he's like, I just want to be funny and popular with girls. And they get him some water because he's drunk. So then we meet the 2 there, the singers in the candy striped outfits. And they're the 2 singers there, and they're all smiles, but then the moment, they're just as dead-eyed as Uramichi, right? So we have Ikateru Daga. Ikateru is a singer. He's super handsome. Of course, Miyano Mamoru is playing him. He used to be a musical actor. He has a strong, deep, pretty voice. Although he was blessed with good looks, he likes crass, dirty humor and can't read between the lines or sense the mood. So he's like a dropout musical actor that is kind of vulgar and not good at reading signs. Awesome. He's pretty, but there's not much going on upstairs, is what they're saying. So then we have the one woman, Tadano, who's 32. So she's a year older than Uramichi-san. She's a singer. And then she graduated from a famous music college and was a pop star, an Inca singer, a jazz singer, and now is an Oniisan singer. So she's depressed because she graduated from like an Ivy League school and then her line of profession didn't work out. Okay. And she sees like the people getting married. And what does she say there? It says just got married. And then she's mad about it. It's been over 5 years since she started living with her unpopular comedian boyfriend. So she's basically been living with the same guy for 5 years and it's not going anywhere and he's not popular and she feels like her job is this stagnant kids TV position. I could see why she'd be depressed. We don't know much about Miyano Mamoru's character at the moment, but he's hilarious. And seems like there's just not a lot going on upstairs. So what's interesting is with Usao, it seems like he's trying to talk behind Uramichi Oniisan's back, But Uramichi's trying to ignore him. But he says, I think people start growing old once they stop fighting. That's such a phrase, right? The idea that once you separate and once you swap out indifference with anger, it's like you don't have the fight in you anymore, and that's when you start growing older. That's such a crazy line, right? Saying, not necessarily saying that age is a number, but saying that like your strength and your spirit ages you, right? He's like, even if it's not an aggressive fighting instinct, you unconsciously fight, compete, experience hardships, and get crushed. And that's how you grow to be stronger. And he's like, but if you keep stagnant and in the same place every day, you're not growing. And he's like, we made eye contact, but that's just the norm. So I don't really care in this case. What's scary is my emotional ups and downs started lagging a little behind. Like, he's like, I'm not living life to the fullest anymore. I'm just kind of stagnant. That feeling, the anger changing into indifference. And then we have Igateru come in, who only Miyano Mamoru, I am convinced that only Miyano Mamoru could pull this off. That Feinstein joke, where his nickname was like Dick, and he's like getting off on this vulgar humor. Like, oh my God. That joke, it just sets up how kind of like Miyano Mamoru's character, he's super hot, but he's also kind of creepy and kind of weird. And Uramichi's like, okay, what? But I swear, only Miyano Mamoru could get away with doing like that type of laugh. That was a light Yagami laugh. That was a creepy light Yagami laugh. And I was living for it. I'm going to go back as soon as I'm done with this discussion and rewatch that entire scene again because it was absolutely hilarious. And Uramichi ends up playing into it, right? He just ends up feeding the trolls. So Igateru gets to where he can't hang out anymore, so instead they have Uramichi go and hang out with Tadano, and they kind of look like siblings a little bit, Tadano and Uramichi do. And they're like, oh, he's not in good condition, and Uramichi's like, yeah, kids, make sure that you take breaks so that you can avoid going crazy from exhaustion. And then he's like, it's too late for him. These poor little kids. So they decide to do a drawing, and they're like, Uramichi's going to show you a drawing, and he ends up drawing this, like, bird Nanami with a baguette. And he's like, this little birdie appears in my dream 80% of the time. What's interesting is like birds usually go for bread. So the fact that this bird has a giant baguette of bread means it has all it needs. So it should be satisfied. So I wonder if like this is showing up in his dreams to show like a sense of satisfaction. He's like, and she's like, well, are you sick? And he's like, if I admit I was sick, a guy with him would take advantage of me if he had dangerous eyes. And she's like, what are you talking about? I love that he just goes on these tangents and nobody really understands what he's saying. And so then he sees them at the table talking about him. And then I like that he walks in and Igateru says nothing. But he's like, seriously, Uramichi-san. He's no other hobbies besides buffing up his body, right? And the bear and the others see him and they say nothing. There's something I want to say to him someday. Oh my God. A man who loves nothing else but muscle. His name is Gloomy Macho. Oh my God. And then, yeah, he like looks over and he's like, hi. Oh my God. That was the moment's indifference turned into anger. Yep. Ah. And then we have the end credits. Yep. And so we have all 5 of them. Uramichi, we have Usao, Kurosao, and then the 2 singers. I am all about this series so far. I'm really, really, really excited about it. I like the prospect of seeing the backstories behind all 5 of the characters. It seems like what it appears is that the 2 Kohei followed him to that profession, but I want to know like how did Uramichi end up working for this TV station? What happened with his dream of being in a sports anime, and what ends up happening with that? And what about the other 2? Like, were they pop idols? Were they singers? Why'd they end up in the TV station? What was their stories? I'm hoping that we get focus on them throughout the season of each of their past experiences that led them here. That would be really interesting. But I already like the fact that this show is kind of showing kind of the other side of becoming an adult. Like, you know, when you watch shonen and slice of life high school anime, and it's like, well, when I grow up, this is gonna happen. And a lot of times, like in sports anime such as Free or Haikyuu or Ace of the Diamond, we get to see some of those characters go on and do things, and it's really inspiring and hopeful. But this is kind of like the dark version of that, of like, well, but what actually goes on with adulting? Is it just getting the job of your dreams? What happens if that isn't the case? And I'm super excited about it. So I can't wait to watch this show this summer. I'm so excited about it. I hope you all are as well. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Uramichi Oniisan.